Today I used it in a 30-second pitch at Creative Mornings. You can kind of see the look on their face. They're squinting until I like, what do you do? And they're squinting, and then I get to the part where I go, at the end of the day, it's so that you can create, we operate. And they go,
Right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I get it.
I get it now. It makes total sense.
Equipping creative businesses to unleash their best work.
Hey, welcome back to the Chief Creative Podcast, the show equipping creative businesses to unleash their best work. I'm your host, Dustin Pead, founder and owner of Chief Creative Partners. So today's episode, we're going to take a quick break from the book writing episodes this week and next week while I put some finishing touches on the next system that I want to share with you. So this week in the next episode, we're going to have two powerful interviews. This week, I'm pulling back the curtain a little bit on the rebrand of my own business and how we went from chief creative consultants to chief creative partners. And I did not do this alone. Joining me on the show today is going to be PJ Towle, founder of 43 Creative. He's a partner of ours at Chief Creative Partners and the designer behind this whole transformation that you've seen. We'll get into the meaning of the icon, the triangles, the colors, the font choices, and why partners finally felt true in a way that consultants never did. So if you want to see how this all turned out, you can head to chiefcreativepartners.com. That's where it all begins, where you create and we operate. So let's dive into my conversation with PJ Towle. And if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see some things that we're going to both share screens and some meaning. So I highly suggest, if you're only listening to this, pause right now, jump over to YouTube, make time to watch it, and subscribe, like, and ring the bell while you're there. All right, let's jump into the conversation with PJ Towle of 43 Creative. All right, PJ Towle of 43 Creative, thanks so much for being here, man.
Yeah, man, always glad to be here.
Yeah, so today we're going to kind of give a little behind the scenes into the rebrand of going from chief creative consultants to chief creative partners. And I'm just now realizing, PJ, that I didn't pull up my old logo. I don't even know. I probably have it somewhere in my archives.
I can have it. I mean, I can pull it up and we can talk about it when we're going there. And
okay, yeah, let's do that.
I'll get it ready while you talk.
You get it ready. I'll set the scene. All right.
Sounds good.
Let me set the scene here. So we went from chief creative consultants. I started that business in 2023 and used the word consultants because I had for a long time wanted to be a consultant. I was like, hey, when my days are done in ministry, I would love to do consulting work because I'd never done consulting work before, but it sounds nice. It sounds nice. It sounds professional. No one wants to consult with anybody who has less than 20 years of experience. And by that point I had 20 years of experience. And so I was like, all right, I'll do the consulting thing.
Sure.
And as we started getting into it and we started servicing, our clients, and PJ at 43 is one of our clients. And I was just like, this doesn't feel like consulting to me. It feels more like a partnership. And it took me a long time to get that language down. And I was at an event with a bunch of other creative business owners earlier this year in Oklahoma City. And we were all there to support this one financial company that we use, which I guess by the time this one comes out, it'll be the next episode. You'll see an interview that I did with their owner, Christian Brim. But anyway, I was talking with them and I don't even know how it happened, but I just, in my mind, I was like, you know what? It's really a partnership. And I remember I texted PJ and I texted Darren, another one of my friends and clients. And I said, what do you think about this word? And they're like, yeah, that's the word. And I'm like, okay, great. And I'll let PJ, you can maybe even tell the tagline story if you want to, because it's my favorite. Today I used it in a 30-second pitch at Creative Mornings, and everybody, you can kind of see the look on their face. They're squinting until I like, what do you do? And they're squinting, and then I get to the part where I go, at the end of the day, it's so that you can create, we operate, and they go,
right.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I get it.
I get it now. It makes total sense. But anyway, so all that to say, had that clarity finally after months of kind of like trying to figure out what's missing, what's the clarity piece. So name change comes immediately. I file it with all the tax people that need to have that stuff down.
So fun.
And had core group who helps me do all that stuff, kind of guide me through that. And so then I was like, okay, well, now I need a logo change, because my logo that my wife, who is a designer, put together for me real quickly, she put it together, and if let me just go ahead and can you share
I've got
screen?
it. Yep, I've got it. Got it all pulled up.
Does it give you the ability to share screen?
I should be able to click share and then this, and you should see it.
Perfect. Now. Okay. So this logo that my wife did for me when I started the business in 2023 was a direct rip, which I told her to do this. This is not like her like trying to be creative. Like she's way more, it's like she's way more creative than this. But she had done a logo for me back in 2015, 16 or so of my whiskey bar that I have here, which with the space that I'm in now that I call my studio for a long time was my whiskey bar. It was called Chief's Whiskey Bar. It was a combination. Chief came from a dog that I had, who you can't see, is a picture of him right over here, that I super, super loved. My favorite dog I ever had. His name was Chief. And then have always been like super inspired, really connected to Eric Church's music. His nickname is Chief. So I just decided to call it Chief's Whiskey Bar.
I did not know that about the dog.
Yeah.
That like makes it so much more endearing.
Yeah, it is. It is very much. It's not. And people think they're like, oh, like a CEO or like a chief level executive, and I'm just like, I mean, yeah, kind of. Now it plays. It plays that way, but that's not really where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And so anyway, she had designed. So if you look closely at this, you can see it kind of looks like a drink ring that's been left on the thing, which is why it was Chief's Whiskey Bar. And I actually still have the etched glass vinyl sticker on my window door to my office right here. Says Chief's Whiskey Bar. It looks just like this. And instead of it saying Creative Consultants LLC, it says Whiskey Bar under it. And instead of saying 2023 at the top, it says 2015. Because I was like, I need you to throw something together for me. I just filed for this LLC. She's like, all right, what do you want me to do? I was like, I don't know, just change. It's going to be called Chief Creative Consultants. So just change the Whiskey Bar thing and make it that instead. So she did.
Yeah.
So fast forward to this year, earlier this year, I was wanting to make the change from consultants to partners, needed a new brand. And PJ being, well, first thing I'll say this, I asked my wife,
which is always smart.
Yeah.
Ask her first.
I asked her because she's a graphic designer. And I said, look, I've got this clarity. I've got this name change. Do you want to do the rebrand? Or do you want me to seek outside help? Knowing in the back of my head, seek outside help, man, I'm going to call PJ.
No, number one, I appreciate that vote of confidence. Number two, when you asked, I was like, oh crap, I hope he asked Sarah. Yeah. Like, I hope he talked to her first. Cause like, I don't want to get in the middle of this. It's like, I don't want to be the other woman.
You don't want to be the designer I'm having an affair with.
Quotes are going to get taken out of context.
They're going to get
quick
this
if we're not careful.
Transcript is about to be wild. No, so I asked her, and she goes, "But she didn't even blink. She's like, seek outside help." I was like, "Great," and she goes, "You're going to call PJ, aren't you?" I said, "Yep," and and so, but she was just like, I think you need a fresh perspective. It's a fresh rebrand. Like the amount of time and effort that it's going to take, you just go call PJ. I was like, "Great, call PJ." And maybe I'll hand the story over to you from this point.
So I love doing creative consultations this way. Like, even if I'm not going to do the logo work, which I absolutely love branding work. It is my favorite thing that I get to do with my job. And so even if I don't get to do it, I love the conversations. I love the way that all plays out. And so the short story was, we sent you through a form that I use with clients when I'm onboarding stuff. So I can get all the clarity, all the information about who you are, who Chief is, the people that you want to work with, who your competitors are, yada, 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 yada. And then thanks to my highest valued employee, Claude, we processed employee of the month, month after month after month. And so we processed through a whole bunch of different stuff and did some competitive analysis. And so some of the things I love about the logo that you had before was like, I love the fact that it's that whiskey glass ring, but I didn't know that. I thought it was like creative. And so it was like paintbrush, like kind of vibe to it. So like, it felt really connected in that space to me. And so I love the kerning of the font. I like the way that it separates the self. So like, I have to compete now with Dustin's wife. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, so fast forward after we go through all that stuff, And just looking at your space right now, for people that, you know, watch the podcast regularly or are listening to the podcast, there are orange pops of color all over the place. And you have told me in the past that orange was your favorite color.
Yeah.
And so knowing those kinds of things jumping in to the conversation after we've gotten all that clarity was super, super helpful. And so I always like to start with a black and white rendition first of everything that we do when we're just concepting, because we want to make sure everything is really strong up front. And so I took some of the elements that we saw
that it can stand on its own.
Yeah, it can stand on its own, that color isn't required. You know, some of those logos, not to throw shade at Google, but like the new Google logo has a gradient fade to it now. And so instead of those hard line cuts, super difficult if you're not looking at it on screen. Like if you're reproducing it different ways, it can get really difficult. So I always like to start with black and white to make sure it's really strong and can stand by itself. So from initial concepting phase, we started from this, and I tried to pull some of those creative elements, like some of the rough edges and that kind of stuff in, while still kind of keeping the, you know, the ethos, the mythos, if you will, of the chief main font used there. What'd you say?
The chief aura.
The aura. Yeah. We're aura farming at this point, as the kids say. But so we jumped here, and this was the first batch of things that you saw. And so we had a couple of icons. I knew you love foxes, or do love foxes. The Fantastic Mr. Fox is in your top 5 movies, if not. Oh, it's your favorite movie.
It's number 2.
Number 2.
It's Stranger Than Fiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So processing that through, I'm like, you know, there's this idea of what you're doing with consulting and building systems for people is this operational intelligence is what you're working through. And so as I started digging into the idea of what you do and who you are and how you operate, and your love for foxes, like the fox typically represents adaptive intelligence. Like that's what we see kind of in pop culture references to the fox. And so all the way back to my favorite fox reference is the original Disney Robin Hood movie. Absolutely was my favorite movie as a kid. Still love it. Have an action figure over here on a shelf of Fox, Robin Hood, and all of that. But so I started digging through and did a couple of illustrations, breaking down a couple of different ways. You know, what's a regal, majestic fox look like that's a little more, you know, mascot-esque, as it were. And then you know, thinking Robin Hood, I'm like, what if we did like the modern herald, like it was part of a coat of arms on a shield or something. And so did kind of a modern representation of that. And then started thinking through a little bit more conceptually, and avant-garde, as it were. Minimalist. I am not a minimalist. If you were to see the rest of my studio, you would realize this. We can see your studio. You are not.
No.
And so I'm just looking at it from a use case standpoint. And I put these two things together. And then the idea of using the triangle was really because the triangle, or the delta, is the symbol for change, which is what you're helping people process through. How to grow, how to change so that their business gets better. And so their creative businesses get better. And so as we did this, when I showed you this, we don't even have to talk about these initials. Like, you know, this one in the bottom left-hand corner looks like a church logo. The one in the bottom right-hand corner is kind of a play of like NASCAR-esque. And then actually, truthfully, the thing that really got me going even down the Fox road was this top left one. I started playing with this shape, and I put these little serifs on the back end of the P, and I went, oh, those are kind of like fox ears. Wait a minute, Dustin really likes foxes. And so what if we break that down that way? And so like, it's weird how like a little thing can spark a creative idea.
That's good.
Then when I show you all of this, we'll talk about font stuff in a second. But I show you this, like it didn't even take you 0.2 seconds to be like, that one, this is the one. This is what I love this one. Let's talk about that direction. And so I'm like, cool. That was my favorite one too. But notice I didn't put it in the front because I didn't want to like lead the conversation. I wanted you to,
bury the lead in the middle.
Exactly. But so then as we start breaking down, logo type options here of what to use. Like it's all these same basic things over here from these initial concepts for the letter mark, broken down in different ways. But like, so here, this one is a distressed font to play off of your whiskey glass rings from the old one. The italics font here playing off of the italics font that you had in the first one, trying to keep some of those things connected. And again, like you were like, oop, top right corner and the middle one. Like, and so we broke those down.
Telling you, I was like, no, total departure. You were like, okay.
I was like, okay, we'll see how that goes. I don't think that's where it's going to be, but I don't want to speak prophetically over you because this is your thing. But, and so these are the two. And then this concept were the ones that we really honed in on that we were going to focus on. So after a couple of iterations on some things back and forth, we landed on these pieces that ironically we didn't change a ton from where we landed, but these were the three pieces that we really landed on with this. And so from here we started breaking down what would these things look like in color. And we had talked through some color options about the orange, and I'm a big fan of using what I would call like not quite black in a logo design instead of using just a straight black. I feel like it displays better.
What's the nerd code there? It's like a 060606
it's gonna be right here. Were some of the options that we used. Like you can do it. So 000000 is all black, but you can do basically any variation really close to that gets you some variation of an off black. I don't remember what we used specifically for your website, but I believe, at least in concepting, this is where we landed with yours. But you can see here with the colors that we worked into, you've got a couple of like some rounded edges that we did some softening there. So like instead of the hard point that we were seeing here, we get this like rounded edge. So it starts to play more like, the fox's nose and the cheekbones and the outlines and the all play there. And then we also adjusted so that these are just two triangles as opposed to random shapes. And then, the 5-point, pentagon here down at the bottom that like, we tried different variations of that. It started to look too much like a home plate from baseball and some different things there. And so this is just like, we kept coming back to this. And sometimes we can, get analysis by paralysis when we think about stuff too deep. And so we just kept coming back to this same thing. So we were like, you know what, let's make some adjustments there and keep it basically the same. And so this was one of those happy accidents of basically landing on it in round one. Doesn't always happen that way, but we got to love that. And so this is what the icon looks like in all the different color variations and the 3 different colors that we picked off. And then we started playing with what it would look like in different breakdowns, basically landing with that, Gotham-esque font there at the top, and then playing in some little creative touches and tweaks. So like, I will jokingly, I guess if I can zoom here, I will jokingly call these guys, as you look at some of these letters that have a crossbar, like they're like little teeth marks from the fox. Like you're really sinking your teeth in or something like that. You can play with it however you call it, whatever you want. But we started adding things like that. And when we saw those, we were like, that's it. Like, this is where we go. And so we started breaking it down into what it would look like for different variations of responsive uses, basically all working off of the same premise and font weight treatment there, to the point that then we land on, here's what your visual ID looks like. And so as we break this down, what's the primary logo look like? What's a secondary logo? I believe this is the one that you have on your website, except the text is the off-white. Because that like looks better on a header across the top of a website, where this one would get too small as you start thinking about responsive down on a website or on a mobile device. And so here's an initial sub mark, and then just a straight up logo mark and what that looks like and how those play. And so one of the things I really like to do then is adjust my screen here. So, wrong one. is work through like, what does the color look like? Why is this not wanting to scroll for me? There we go. Oh, there we go. Hey, I'm new to computers. There's a scroll bar right here. I should know this with as much as I use. There we go. We started playing in with primary colors. What do those look like? And then, if you're going to recreate something with Pantone, have the Pantone colors there. Here are the actual colors that we ended up using. So on screen versus print are slightly different because of use case and how they get done. So we have those for the orange. The neutral black, I guess, is technically what we call it.
And we went around. We did several iterations of the orange before we've like, no, this is too red, or this one's not fiery enough, or this one's not bright enough, or that one's too
and even
orange.
This document right here was built for printing as opposed to on screen. So your orange that you're seeing here is a little different than what we have here, because this was built for on screen. And so it's all based on how the files are built as to what color code you use.
Yeah.
But you're right.
And then when we got to the accent colors, you really surprised me with that green. I mean, obviously color theory, it makes sense, but that's not my world. That's more your world. And man, I was so pleased to have that, even so much so that I just bought a pair of shorts recently in that color.
Yes.
And I'm wearing them right now with my Chief shirt.
So my wardrobe is basically blacks, OD green, and some really dark grays. Every now and then I'll throw in like a colorful plaid kind of thing, because I'm a product of the 90s grunge era. But the OD green is like one of my things, to the point right before you were in town and we went to Fast Friday, I'm walking around with some friends and another client, and buy a t-shirt at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indianapolis 500. And not a huge race guy, but I grabbed the OD green t-shirt with black print, and everybody was like, that is a very uniquely PJ t-shirt. Yeah. So like, you got a little bit of me in this by this OD green sitting here. Yeah.
Designer nod.
Exactly. And so we worked this through, like, again, happy accident. We played with a couple of other colors. You could have done blue, but then it starts to feel like the Bears, which are moving to Indiana from what I hear.
That's true.
And then played with a bunch of other things, but this one really stuck. And where we saw it stick, so we'll come back and talk about if we need to, but here's color gradients, some brand assets to do some patterns of some different things. Here are the font choices of how they actually broke down. I'm also, side note, really big on the logo font use, type use to stand by itself. And not feel like it has to get used in any of the other font uses for stuff. So,
especially since mine is custom.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's a customized version of a Gotham base is where we, for those nerding out on the process right now. But then as we looked at these media samples, this was the one that really made you go, oh, I love that green.
Yeah. I love
You create, we operate, which was a total, to tell that story, a total accident. You were shooting, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And they were getting long. And I was like, well, why don't you just do you create, we operate? And you're like, that's it. I'm done. I'm out.
I was so mad.
PJ, you're really good at this job.
I was so relieved. I was so relieved and so mad at the same time, because that's how it always goes.
Right.
When the good ones are so good, it's obvious. When the iPhone came out, they're like, well, of course it's obvious.
How did we not
get there sooner?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, this was the sample, media sample that I threw together as a test, just to show you what it could look like. You're like, oh, I love that. Can you send me that as a background?
Yeah, which I have.
So I can put it on my computer. And then I like to take, here's what it looks like in process. So on a desktop mock-up. So I threw it in up here in this variation with the off-white text as you were rebuilding your website anyway. And so in all of that, throwing it together, it was like, oh, this is where we start to see it flesh out. And then here's what it looks like for your Instagram handle, which you didn't have this way yet. So, how do we play this out? How do we start seeing it visually.
What's it like in the real world?
Yeah, so that nobody goes, oh yeah, it looks great up here, but I don't know what to expect anywhere else.
You see it out in the wild.
And so this little visual ID quick sheet is, think of it like a mini brand guidelines. It's 2 pages. It doesn't take any time to read. Anybody can keep it. They can look at it, and basically gets you all the information that another designer or somebody working on your stuff would be able to do. So that's kind of it. I mean, it took us a couple of weeks. We went back and forth. I think about 4 weeks total is what it took us to work that through. And sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower, and we go from there. But I see the use starting to pop up. I think, didn't you tell me you were ordering a shirt that was this pattern or this pattern?
I did so the sideways, the this kind one? Of that pattern right one, there. I put I mocked up the same place that I've been getting my shirts made that PJ told me about. I mocked up a blanket because they had the blanket available in an OD green, and I was like, I'm gonna put that. I'm going to basically create a pattern like that all over the blanket. I haven't ordered it yet, but I do have it ready to order.
That's cool.
But I want to get it and put it over the couch right here.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do a flag, big canvas flag. Yeah. You get the you could replace your is it Magic City poster back there that you could replace?
That's a Chris Stapleton concert poster from Birmingham, Alabama back in September of 2021. They call Birmingham the Magic City. So well, I'll share now if that's okay.
Yeah. Let me stop mine. There you go.
Let's see. It's telling me which one do I want to share. Oh, okay, cool. Let's do. Obviously,
I'm thinking. I was going to say I'm thinking about people that are listening to this podcast. You're like, okay, I'm going to click here. Now I'm going to do this. As opposed to those watching.
It's pretty dumb. Yeah, entire screen is what I'm trying to get to. But okay, there it is. Sorry. Well, I'll edit that out, obviously.
You might do... Oh, okay. I was going to say, I forgot you've got multiple screens.
I do. I have 3. I'm looking at you on camera 3. I got screen 3 there, screen 2 here, screen 1 over here. Anyway, yes, you can actually see there's my backdrop right there. But and I pulled this up, not realizing that you were probably going to show it, and you did. But I'll show this right here. So one of the things that I loved as we were developing the in use the icon right here. I think one of the reasons I was originally attracted to it, you heard PJ share about the triangles and the delta and that whole thing. I was like, nah, what really speaks to me, and I even told him, I was like, warning, this is about to get real artsy.
There's nothing wrong with that. You're in a creative business.
Exactly.
You work with creative people.
Exactly. So what really stood out to me were the 3 different sections here. And so I went and had a motion graphic made like this right here because I wanted to highlight those 3 different sections. And so if you look at the first section here, this first triangle, I always look at that as this is us. This is my business. This is Chief Creative Partners right here, that we are kind of, as you see this develop, we are behind the scenes, but we are shaping your business and letting it kind of grow up and to the right, right? Hey, we're allowing you to focus on growing your business while we operate your business, right? And then I like this further section down here at the bottom, because then it's the foundation. I don't want to leave it there for you. Because
thank you. My OCD was
you're like, there's a little white spot there. Is this section down here at the bottom is kind of like we're in this together. To me, this represents the partnership because it sits underneath both Chief Creative here and your business up there. And so I wanted to be able to kind of see that. So I had the motion graphic designer. I literally pulled up the logo and I kind of zoomed into it, and I was like, hey, I want to see everything right here. And I followed the line. I'm like, I want to go to here to here. Like I want it to be one seamless motion, to come across and then shoot over there into Chief. And so
it's like one of those intelligence tests where you have to like connect all the dots without lifting your pencil.
Exactly. That's what I wanted. Like, I didn't want it to be like, well, there's a triangle and then there's a triangle. Like, I wanted to see it all, how it all works and flows together, because that's what we do. That's the heart of the partnership is this togetherness. So,
and when you sent me that rundown asking me if I knew any motion graphics editors that way, I was like, man, I don't really know anybody that would do that exactly.
Yeah.
But I also wasn't visualizing it and hearing the story the same way that you were hearing it.
Yeah.
And seeing it, which I also find incredibly fascinating, because some people will look at it and go, and maybe this is the part of the difference between you and me. Some people will look at that and go, it's a fox. I get it. I see it. It's iconic, whatever, move on. Talks about intelligence. Let's go. But then somebody like you that gets to that detail level goes, oh, but here's another story with it. And we can start telling our own stories that end up playing together with it. I find it super fascinating.
Yeah, I just loved as like if you're thinking about things moving forward, you know, to the right, that the business that we're here to help support, that they're kind of leading the charge. They're the front facing thing. Here we are in the background, and then together all of that makes up this partnership. Was really beautiful.
It's okay. You're a 4. Let it out, man.
Yeah. No. Just let it go, man. Let it go.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the process. Like I said before, brand design is my favorite thing I get to do with my job. And so I was really flattered that you asked, and really honored and really excited at how well I think it came out.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, I kept telling you, man, this is better than I expected. This is way better than I expected. And I'll say this too, to kind of close and end all the sappy thanks. That I think what makes this is someone who, you know, outside perspective of a designer. I think what makes a great designer, and I learned this by watching my wife design, and when she presents her designs to people and hearing the other people go, wow, there's such intentionality behind it. And that's why I love what I wanted PJ. I wanted him for his like bold use of color and to be able to kind of push some boundaries. And I told him that up front, like, hey, I want to push some boundaries here, because PJ's logo also very vibrant. Like, I want to push that boundary a little bit, but I also knew that you were going to be really intentional with the meaning of the look and the colors and everything, the way that I've kind of seen Sarah do over the years. And so I would just say anyone that's looking for design help, you know, PJ or Sarah, look for a designer that's going to be intentional with it, because that's really, at the end of the day, like everything that we do in our businesses, and this is our world, this is our life, right? Like this intentionality means a lot. So thank you for being intentional with it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I will tell you that I truly believe is a learned skill that anybody can learn.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I know we're both talking. We've been reading this book, "Save the Creatives" by Brandon Triola, and the part where he's talking about soft skills of relationship and intentionality and communication and all of this, I think is such an underutilized force in creative partnerships and businesses, and even just. I mean, to play back into why you changed to partners over consultants. Yeah. If we stop as creatives, if we would stop looking at it as a project, like here's a branding project, here's a website project, here's a layout project. If we would start looking at all of it as partnership. Yeah. What's that going to say to our clients?
Yeah. Which I learned
intentionality going to show.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And I learned that from you too.
I appreciate that.
Of just like, you know, I think there's this hustle. This is a whole nother conversation. I'll have you back on to talk about this. There's this hustle that we think is supposed to come with being a business owner, and that we have to constantly market ourselves and market ourselves and market ourselves. And you and I both being Enneagram 4 wing 3s, I lean to you a lot on like, hey, you think like me. Well, what do you do here? And you're like, honestly, I'm just intentional with my relationships and partnerships. And I go, yeah, that's freeing. I like that. I'm just going to do that. And so that's why I've just kind of leaned into that and learned that from you. But anyway, PJ, thank you for obviously your amazing work, but thank you for your time on the episode. Hopefully inspire other creatives and other designers to put this level of intentionality into their work And yeah, check out PJ 43 spelled out FORTY creative.com. Check him out for all of your branding needs. He will amplify your brand. Oh yeah, see, I brought that in.
Love that.
Brought that in. All right. Thanks, PJ. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.